Unions are an integral part of society in Botswana, and indeed they are everywhere else. The question is, what role should they play in the politics of a country? In 2014, we know that Bufepuso came out clearly that they actually support UDC, that is the Umbrella for Democratic Change. This time around, they have made a different decision to that one they took in 2014. What are the reasons? And indeed, what is the possible impact on the 2019 general elections? This is The Voice on Politics. I'm Kelebon Hutso. Good afternoon. I'm joined in the studio by the Secretary General of Botswana Federation. I never get it right. Let's just call it Bufepuso anyway. Botswana Federation of Public Sector Unions, Bufepuso. He's also the Secretary General of Botswana Sectors of Education Trade Unions, Bosetu. Let's do that again. I always get it wrong. Bufepuso.
Yes.
What exactly does it stand for? I can't believe I forgot that.
Botswana Federation
Yes.
of Public, Private, and Parastatal Sector Unions.
Yes, I do recall seeing that it has changed a little bit in terms of how it's written.
Yes.
But I never really educated myself on it, on how it should be done. I shouldn't really be that ignorant. But anyway, welcome to the show. Just recently you announced that you're going to be neutral in these particular elections compared to in 2014 where Bufepuso came out clearly that they were in support of, the Umbrella for Democratic Change. Could you just break it down for us exactly what this was about?
Yes, I think Botswana would recall that in 2014,
yes.
Bufepuso made an announcement before elections, and I think it was 2 weeks before elections, that they were going to lend their support to the UDC. But I think I need to put that into context and try to go back into history about it. That, that decision came because prior to 2014, in 2011 to be specific, there was a very huge industrial action for the public service, which took a record weeks. During the course of the industrial action, Bufepuso several times wanted to meet the government of the day, particularly the then president, Rekam. And we couldn't meet him. A number of utterances were made to the effect that the unions and the members of the unions could be on strike for whatever period that they want, but nobody would come to them to try and talk to them. That was a damning statement on the side of the trade unions. Trade unions were very angry about it, and as a result, a number of our colleagues also got dismissed from work. So because of that then, in 2014, we then said we are not going to be lending our support to the UDC, neither are we going to remain neutral. So we are going to lend our support, not the UDC, but the BDP.
Yes.
I beg your pardon,
yes.
But we are going to lend our support to the UDC.
Yes.
For 2 reasons. That the BDP government has trampled upon the rights of the workers.
Yes.
Nilly-willy, and it was quite very clear that they did not even listen to the workers. Then the second reason was that we read the manifestos of the different political parties then.
Yes.
The UDC manifesto was sort of addressing the situation that we had at hand during that period, and therefore we then lent our support to the UDC. Then fast forwarding to 2019,
yes.
The circumstances that existed in 2014 did not prevail now, or are not prevailing now.
Yes.
The Congress of the Federation that was held in June of this year said to us as the national executive that we should go and do an assessment of our relationship with the UDC. And after doing an assessment, then we should also come up with a workers' manifesto, which describe the principles that we need to put in place so that we don't make decisions out of anger or out of our own emotions. We should make decisions in relation to elections, looking at the principles that would have been manifested in the manifesto. Then they also instructed us that after that, then we should call the Governing Council, and if the need arises, we should also call the Congress, so that we come and now say, this is the result of the review, and therefore let's take a decision. Unfortunately, we were not able to do the review well on time, but we were also not able to come up with the Workers' Manifesto owing to logistical problems that we had. Then we were able to have an assessment of the political environment in Botswana, which was outsourced to a private individual.
Yes.
Produced a report, gave it to us as the National Executive, and then we called the Governing Council, which was called, I think, about 3 weeks back.
3 weeks back, yes.
Then at the Governing Council, there was an intense debate looking at the report about whether we should continue to support the UDC, lend our support to the UDC, or we should not. And the decision that was arrived at after that intense debate was that, no, we should remain neutral. The Federation should remain neutral, but it should appeal to individual members to go and exercise their own conscience and then decide at the ballot box. If the individual members think that the UDC is still a better party and is promising them better improvement of their conditions of service, they can vote it. If they feel that the BDP is coming up with better initiatives with respect to their conditions of service, they can vote it, or the same would apply if they feel that the AP is doing well.
Okay, I just want you to hold it right there, Mr. Rad. When we come back from the break, I want us to focus a bit more on the nature of the relationship between UDC and Bofepuso. I just want us to break it down. What was supposed to happen, okay. What happened, what did not happen. Okay. We'll be right back.
We know what you're looking for.
Your specially grilled newspaper, spiced with lifestyle, sport, entertainment, politics, business, and international news. The Voice is available every Friday. Subscribe now. The Voice.
Welcome back. This is The Voice on Politics. I'm Kelebogile Hutso. Of course, I'm in the studio with the Secretary General of Bofepuso, Reto Bokanerari. We are discussing the nature of unions' involvement in politics, specifically Bofepuso and politics in Botswana. Do you recall that you can actually be our partner here on The Voice on Politics, as we'll be doing a rolling coverage of the elections on the 22nd, from the 22nd until the 25th of October. And you can, of course, partner with us by calling Loretta Mekwe on 7602-7544. That is Loretta Mekwe on 7602-7544. Rarari, we are discussing what exactly was the nature of the relationship between UDC and Bofepuso. What is it that was done? What is it that was not done? Such that you end up choosing to be neutral as opposed to continuing that relationship with UDC.
Yes, I think I was trying to explain this, that when we, after 2014, we engaged the UDC and say probably to make our relationship fruitful and mutual beneficial to the two parties, we should probably form a committee that would then sit and engage on issues of labor as a feeder committee.
Yes.
To, for example, members of parliament, the office of the president, so that every time when there are labor issues that needed to be raised in parliament, then this is the committee that needed to distill the issues,
yes,
and then pass them over to whoever is going to be putting across a motion or an amendment or whatever in parliament. We agreed on that, but that never saw the light of the day. We went on, we kept on trying to pester to say, let's meet and have that committee working. But we couldn't really have that committee working.
Sorry to cut in, but from 2014 until maybe this year, are you suggesting that there was never a meeting between UDC and Bofepuso?
Sparingly. The meeting that I remember was the meeting at Oasis Motel. There was also a meeting immediately after the elections where President Duma Boko was present. I think there are about 3, 4, 5 meetings that we had, but all those meetings, that committee couldn't really be set up.
What was the problem exactly?
So the
because
problem
it
was-
sounds like a really great idea. That's where you'd really expect unions and political parties to work at.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think the problem was the forthcoming of our partners,
Yes.
who are the UDC. We were
Yes.
always ready to say, let's come together.
Yes.
So they were not forthcoming.
Yes.
Yes.
Were reasons ever preferred?
Not any reasons that have been provided, but it is an issue of trying to put across a call to
Yes.
them. They would not take calls. They
Yes.
would not honor any invitations that we make for meetings. So that was a difficult situation.
Okay.
Yes. But to zero into the issue of the type of relationship, when we started this relationship with the UDC, it was quite very clear that we said to them that this is not a coalition.
Yes.
This is not a permanent marriage.
Yes.
And I think it was explained not once, several times, including the president of Buffet-Puso has said it out quite very clearly.
Yes.
And that's why I always become very careful with using words. When I talk of that relationship, I say we lended our support to the UDC because of the situation that prevailed at that time. It was never ever pronounced that this is a permanent position or a permanent arrangement. So that arrangement was really temporary, dependent on how their manifesto would look like,
Yes.
2019, depending on how we have worked together before 2019.
So now you've explained the nature of the relationship with UDC, and you also said the situation now in terms of your relationship with government is not the same as it was prior and during 2014.
Yeah.
Would you say, as Buffet-Puso, you are happy with your relationship with the ruling party now, your relationship with government?
Let me tell you one thing that I have always said.
Yes.
No, when President Masisi came to office, he promised a number of things that he was going to change, demonstrating that he's different from the past immediate.
Yes.
He said, I'm going to make sure that the bargaining council is up and running.
Yes.
He said it unequivocal.
Yes.
When he was making his inaugural speech. He even met unions at the fairgrounds and said, I'm going to make sure that by the month of last year, by the month of September of 2018, the bargaining council is up and running.
Yes.
There is another process that is ongoing of ensuring that we comply with the ILO standards.
Yes.
In terms of the, the Committee of Application of Standards of the ILO.
Yes.
We reported Botswana to the ILO.
Yes.
And one of the findings was that indeed Botswana was in breach by amending the Trade Dispute Act,
Yes.
Including a host of workers to become essential services, contrary to Convention 87
Yes.
of the ILO. Then there was a process that was put in place in accordance with the recommendations of the ILO, that there be a committee that is going to look at the laws.
Yes.
That committee started, but the biggest problem that then came in is that the government of President Masisi bypassed that committee and took a legislation to Parliament to amend the Trade Dispute Act,
yes.
to remove some other aspects. That the aspects have been removed is not a problem. But we are saying we cannot have the same tendency which we were critical of when President Khama was in office, now being done again by the person who say he wanted to reverse. This country is run through a democracy.
Yes.
And democracy means observing and respecting institutions as laid out by the law.
Yes.
So one of the institutions that is there is the trade unions and the industrial relation
Yes.
institution. So if you bypass it, then it means that you are disrespecting the laid down institutions, procedures, and protocols.
Yes.
So You are asking me a direct question, and I've taken some time to answer it, to say, how is your relationship with the BDP? In my view, if I tell you, if it was marked out of a 10, I would say the BDP is still at 4. At 4 because they have failed on that which they said they have changed. But at least maybe the 4 comes from the fact that they met us. There was a negotiation process, which was done outside the bargaining council, that resulted in some increment, though that is not the increment that we have wanted, but at least the process was respected. So that is where the 4 is coming from. But the fact that laid down institutions need to be put in place, they are not there, and therefore we are not really happy with the relationship.
How much of the relationship, just quickly before we go for a break, how much of the relationship with the BDP and the government would you say you're satisfied with? Because right now you're just pointing out that they're trampling on that basic processes that they ought to be following. It's an issue I want us to look at length, because people are saying that the BDP has, rather the president has been pronouncing a lot of things without really reaching out, without really achieving them, without really doing them. How much in this relationship do you think, or are you happy with as Bofepuso? That is an issue that I want us to look into when we come back. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I want us to focus a little bit more on why is it that Bofepuso chose to be neutral as opposed to picking either BDP, AP, UDC, or even BPF. We'll be right back.
We know what you're looking for.
Your specially grilled newspaper, spiced with lifestyle, sport, entertainment, politics, business, and international news. The Voice is available every Friday. Subscribe now. The Voice.
Welcome back. This is The Voice on Politics. I'm Kelly Huto. I am with Tobokane Rari, the Secretary General of Bofepuso. We're discussing the role of Bofepuso in the upcoming general elections, and we were just discussing with Rari before we went there the nature of the relationship with government, indeed the BDP. Ke buise Rari gore ke se o ka re ngwa se itumela hela mo relationship ya the union in general and Bofepuso in particular, the government and indeed the ruling party.
Yes. I think ke supile gore se ikiting gongwe the president Ramasisi o se dirile ke gore at least he met us. We sat down. That's 1. 2, the negotiation say di hitiling, they were done in a quite cordial atmosphere. We are not satisfied with the outcome, but in a negotiation process, it's an issue of parties compromising. So they were done in a cordial atmosphere. But to me, those are trivial. What is important to me is for institutions to be built, because democracy is really strong with strong institutions. If there is no bargaining council, that is the institution, then it means on a good mood, we can have what we had Kolobat. But on a bad mood, they may say there is no bargaining chamber. So it's a temporary thing. So to me, when I say I can give them 4 out of 10, I'm looking at the fact that, no, they have done the trivials, but they have left the main important ones, which are institutions that need to be respected.
Then one would be curious to say, why then would you not continue with a party that at least you supported the last time? Because they are your partners. You're not happy with this relationship, but there's a relationship of someone who has to come in and fix all those things. Because I've gone through both the manifestos. The UDC does commit to the tripartite system. Why wouldn't you continue with them as opposed to these guys who are continuing to do exactly what you did not like?
I will get to the Palapa debates, but I have described our bit of dissatisfaction with respect to the UDC. I have said it unequivocal to say, even during the time that we were with them, between 2014 and 2019, we never got to interact. We never got to do what we said we were going to do. So I think it adds on to probably the decision that was arrived at.
Yes.
But let me tell you, at Palape, there were hot debates.
Yes.
That issue, that decision of neutrality was arrived at after a 5-hour debate on that particular issue.
Yes.
So the pronouncement that was made was not out of me as a person.
Yeah.
It was out of the resolution that was taken after a 5-hour debate. Issues that were at play there in Palape during this debate were, one, the issue of the absence of a worker charter.
Yes.
That would have principles upon which to test the manifestos of different political parties,
Yes.
to put them against the principles and see whether they comply.
Yes.
That was a factor. The other factor that was also at play there was what had the BDP done?
Yes.
And the issues that I was describing, absence of the bargaining council, bypassing the structures, were discussed.
Yes.
And they became part of the reasons why we arrived at the neutrality position. The other factor that also came in was the issue of the UDC and the BPF.
Yes.
The relationship of the UDC and the BPF. And some people were of the view that, no, now the enemy, the number one enemy of workers, which is President Khama, was coming in through the
UDC.
Through the UDC,
Yes.
with their relationship with the BPF. I know that the UDC have said no, they don't have any relationship with the UDC. But like it or not, it was a factor.
Yes.
Because it was part of the issues that were raised by the delegates.
Yes.
So all those issues then resulted in us saying, because we don't agree, then let's arrive at a neutrality position.
Yes.
So yeah.
But how ideal is this neutrality? How ideal is that for Wiso? Because one would think you'd want to be able to influence whoever gets into parliament, or at least have a voice in parliament, even if the one you support does not win elections. You'd expect to have a voice. Someone you know depends on your vote. How does it work for you?
You know, prevailing circumstances now,
Yes.
I think, like I described them, including the fact that within our central executives,
Yes.
Our central executive, there were two people who are standing for political office,
yes.
and from different ends.
Yes.
Yes. It was another issue. Because of the circumstances that we found ourselves in
Yes.
this year, I think it became a layback sort of a position
Yes.
that we then adopted.
Yes.
But I think going forward, I agree with you that trade unions within society are a segment
Yes.
that has got interest to protect.
Yes.
And they should protect that interest without fear or favor.
Yes.
Just like the religious groups, they've got interest to protect. At Libone, they should stand up to protect their space. The youth have got a space to protect in society. They should stand up as well and say, we look at these parties and we feel political party number one is going to do better for us. The trade union should also do so. I think this was a sort of a compromise position, like I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But going forward, and we were really tongue-lashed as the National Executive Committee to say, the absence of a manifesto has caused all this. So going forward, I think the manifesto is being worked upon now.
Yes.
Going forward, there's going to be a robust discussion of the manifesto. Then we will not have a big problem, because we will now be taking the manifestos of different political parties and subjecting them against the Workers' Manifesto.
Yes.
Because the principles will be outlined there. I think that is the major cause of the problem, because we didn't have principles. Now we depended on our own emotions and what is happening now.
Yes. But if someone was to put it to you that in going neutral, you are in actual fact withdrawing support for the UDC, and by effect, not intention, you are actually endorsing the BDP.
No. I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, I just want to clarify it a bit.
Yeah.
You've supported them in 2014.
Yeah.
You're not supporting them now.
Yeah.
Effectively, you're saying you're unhappy with the relationship. Effectively, you're saying that you do not necessarily believe that they can make a government or they can be of assistance to you. That is the effect. It may not be the intention, but it's the effect.
I really don't think so. You know, the reason why I don't think so, we have appealed to the workers to say they should go and exercise their conscience and throw in a ballot for any party that they think it's okay.
Yes.
I know you are talking pronouncement of the federation, that the federation did not make public pronouncement, because the pronouncement of the federation, of course, is not only to the workers themselves,
it's also to the
but it
nation,
also causes some wavelength across the country, like members of the public who have got the respect and the civic society who have got the respect for the federation might as well follow suit. But I think your question, which you are putting across to me, ke gore ha re tswa mo go supporting UDC ya ka ke re ba supportile ka 2014 re nna neutral gora gore in other words we are sort of saying UDC paletse go aba denta me go nna le mo effect ko BDP, but I don't think so. It's a neutrality position.
I'm not entirely sure that you've answered my question, but it's fine. It's fine because I'm just pointing to like I said, effect as opposed to intention. We understand why you're doing it. But going forward, I think you could just maybe break it down. What then are you going to do as Bofepuso going forward? What then do you expect of unions? What then do you expect of your members as we go to the general elections? And what effect do you think this could have on our elections?
What we're going to do in future is that we should avoid depending on our emotions. We should avoid depending on our thinking. And we should avoid depending on circumstances at certain times. And the remedy to that is to have laid down principles so that, like I said, we would take the manifestos of political parties and then put them against our principles and say this one fits. That is what we are going to go to do in future. But as to
I just want to ask you a very specific question as we round up our discussion, because I want you to tell us here and now. Do you regret supporting UDC as Bofepuso in 2014?
No, we don't. We don't regret even a single day. Because in 2014 there were circumstances that prevailed then, which we wanted to the behavior of the BDP government then, we wanted them to be removed from power. And remember, this is the UDC that we also had part in forming. So we don't regret it.
Secretary General of Bofepuso, of course, discussing unions and politics. We're going to the general elections on the 23rd. We are going to see how much of an impact is Bofepuso going to have on this particular elections. I'm Gela Rodito, this is Voice on Politics. Do remember to get in touch with us if you wish to occupy the space that we are occupying by partnering with us. Do call 7602-7544 Loretta Mekwe to actually get into a relationship with us. We will be broadcasting live on the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, and possibly the 25th. We do not know whether we are going to have a hung parliament, but if indeed we have one, definitely we'll be broadcasting live up until the 25th and possibly the 26th. Have a good day.